Howdy everyone, it's Sam. I hope you're doing really well. If you're new around here, hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. And if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. The quarterfinals of the Men's Rugby League World Cup is upon us. Let's get stuck straight into it. The first quarterfinal is from John Smith Stadium in Huddersfield, Australia. Host Lebanon, Saturday, 6:30 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Australia are $1 favourites to win. Lebanon are $81 outsiders. And the team lists have been announced for both of these sides, more so in stone for Lebanon. For example, Jacob Carraz had a week off last weekend and will be back at fullback, pushing Adam Dewey back into the 5/8 position. So that's a massive boost for Lebanon. And yeah, Australia have named their squad, but it's all at sixes and sevens. And the rumour is that Mel Meninga is going to have Munster, Cleary, and DCE on the 17-man game day squad. That pushes out Ben Hunt. The other question is what the backline is going to look like. Seemingly, Campbell Graham and Jack Whiten are going to be fighting it out for one of those last two remaining spots. I think Campbell Graham has been pretty bloody impressive in his two outings in Australian colours. I reckon that this is going to be a 13 plus points victory towards Australia, yeah, that will mean that they will then take on the winner of the third game that I'll get stuck into in just a tick. The second quarterfinal is from DW Stadium in Wigan. England host Papua New Guinea, and England are $1.05 favourites to $10 about Papua New Guinea. And this game is going to be live from Sunday, 1:30 a.m. in the morning, Australian Eastern Standard Time. And England, the questions that we've got to ask ourselves is Callum Watkins, Herbie Farnworth, and Sam Tonkin's going to come back in? Well, you'd imagine Tonkins will come back in. And the other question too is what about Jack Welsby? Jack Welsby has really hit the international scene with a gusto since round one, and he played in the centres last weekend, did what he had to do against Greece. But what's going to happen for Jack Welsby? Because Mark Sneed, he was a point scoring machine last weekend. So is Welsby going to miss out on the side? You wouldn't imagine so, but it is the quarterfinal. There's still just a little bit of leniency left for all these sides to really finalise and knuckle down on their 17 game day teams. So I think Watkins and Farnworth and Tompkins should all come back in if they aren't injured or if they aren't suspended, and I don't think they are. So what happens to Jack Welsby, George Williams, and Mark Sneed? Is it George Williams that might get a rest in this quarterfinal? We'll wait and see. For Papua New Guinea, there's only really going to be the one change I feel is Sylvester Namo. He missed out last weekend. He's a starting prop for them, and he'll come back into the fold as well. And I'll tell you what, this Jimmy Nutlick absolutely killed it last weekend as well, man. So that's the only real point of difference for Papua New Guinea is if Sylvester Namo will come back into the fold. $10 about Papua New Guinea. I don't know, man. That might be a bit too big. Like I don't know. It's a little bit disrespectful, just quietly, because I think Papua New Guinea are in this with a massive, massive chance. And to be honest with you, I'll be rooting for them big time this weekend. But England, they are on fire. I have watched the bloke in a bar, and they have said that is this the perfect preparation for finals footy in the World Cup that England have had a Samoa team that didn't show up at all, and then you had Greece, and then you had their second game as well, England against France. Maybe not. I mean, France did give them a good tussle in that first half, and England shown some class to run away with it against France in that second half. So I am going to tip England to win 1-12. I think this will be a beauty, and the winner of this game will take on the winner of the fourth game that I'll get stuck into in just a tick. So England, but go Papua New Guinea. Game number 3 of the quarterfinal weekend is from MKM Stadium in Hull, and it kicks off Sunday, 6:30 in the morning, Australian Eastern Standard Time. New Zealand versus Fiji. New Zealand are $1 favourites to Fiji, $21. And the winner of this game takes on Australia next weekend. So there won't be no Australia versus New Zealand World Cup Grand Final, unfortunately, but preliminary finals are just intense, aren't they? For New Zealand, oh man, who knows what's going to happen with them? So Jared Weir-Hargreaves has been suspended for his high shot last weekend. So I imagine, because team lists haven't been announced yet for the England game, this game, and the fourth quarterfinal matchup, I imagine Moses Leota will just be a straight swap for Jared Weir-Hargreaves. And then Britton Nakora played in the centres last weekend. I don't think that's going to be the case. So is it going to be Sebastian Kris, Marata Niukure, or is it going to be Chance Nickel-Klukstad to come in and swallow up that centre position? Because I don't think Britton Nakora, while he can do an admirable job in that slot, I don't think it's going to be Nakora that's going to play in the centres this weekend. And then for Fiji, they've just about been playing with a full strength side since the get-go. So they're battle hardened. Thank goodness that they don't really have any injuries to speak of, man. So they're coming in well refined. And obviously the last time that these two sides met was in that 2017 quarterfinal in the World Cup in 2017, and Fiji won 4 points to 2. So this New Zealand side is a lot different, though. It's going to be a lot different and a lot harder to defeat. I think Fiji will be in it for the first half, but I just think with Jerome Hughes and Dylan Brown another week under their belts together, finally getting it together last weekend, I think they're just going to have too much class for Fiji, unfortunately. They'll win 13 plus, but I don't think it will be an extravagant 13 plus. But I'm going to tip New Zealand. And the fourth quarter final for this weekend is from Halliwell Jones Stadium in Warrington, kicking off Monday 1:30 a.m. Tonga versus Samoa. Holy crap, the dream rivalry is going to eventuate in this game. Tonga versus Samoa. Tonga are $1.60 favourites. Samoa are $2.35. And looking at the Samoan squad, they are suffering, some injuries to some players, but I think that the team that ran out last weekend, by and large, will be the team that will run out this weekend against Tonga. And Tonga, they have an embarrassment of riches, bro. An embarrassment of riches. Is it going to be Tessie Nu or Talatau Kola that's going to play at full back? Because I thought Tessie Nu had a pretty good game last weekend, man. And then what are the halves situation going to look like? Is Talatau Amone going to be dropped? And is this young man, Isaiah Katoa, that the Redcliffe Dolphins fans must be licking their chops at and saying, thank goodness we've got him. Is he going to have a rest, or is he still going to remain the partner with Lolohea, or is it going to be Lolohea that's going to get the rest this weekend? So we don't know. Jason Taumalolo also came back last weekend. Oh my God, he was absolutely terrifying. He was amazing last weekend, Taumalolo. I think while Tonga, at different stages, man, in those first 2 weeks, it took him a little bit too long to really get warmed up. Like it took half an hour, I'd say, in both those first two games to really warm up. That game against Cook Islands last weekend was the game that we were all waiting for. They were awesome last weekend, Tonga, against the Cook Islands. And look, Cook Islands, I know that they've been arguably the most disappointing side of the Rugby League World Cup, but they're no team to scoff at. And Tonga, they absolutely blitzed them. Samoa, yeah, they had a really good showing last weekend, in particularly that first half. And I just think in different patches in that second half, they sort of came in and out of that game. So I'm going to tip Tonga to win, and that would mean we're going to get England versus Tonga, in my opinion, throughout my tipping, is what we're going to get next weekend. So that's it. Quarterfinals are upon us. This is the business end of this. This is the business end of the World Cup. These are going to be some classic games, or at least I'm hoping so anyway. Hope you enjoy your footy. I hope your team wins this weekend, except for Lebanon. And yeah, let's enjoy these quarterfinals this weekend. Adios, everyone. Take care.